I just realized I did an intro for this and completely pointless. I just basically talked about McKinnon winning and Newhook winning, and now we're here, and I did the bump, whatever. It doesn't matter. But McKinnon, Newhook, Colorado, Stanley Cup champions. I know you're an Edmonton guy, Jeff, but you're going to have to suck this one up for this year. But holy smokes, what a series. What a great time. There was no point where I was sitting down on the couch or the chair, wherever I was sitting, watching this series and bored. There was never, when you watch a movie and there's points of lullness and you're like, I don't mind getting up to use the washroom right now. It's pretty boring. But as I was sitting there watching the series, wherever I was sitting, there was no point where I go, I'm going to get up and go use the washroom. That was just glued to the TV the whole time. Unbelievable hockey.
I know, man.
Sorry, you go.
No, I was just gonna say I could tell the tweets and the excitement. I could feel your energy through the through the High Button Twitter and stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
cool.
One thing I really enjoyed about the series was afterwards how Tampa showed respect to Colorado after beating them. They're the better team. Yeah, it sucks, but they deserve to win. They're a great team. I loved what Stamkos said. I love what John Cooper had to say. I just love the respect between the two teams afterwards. And even during, I was saying this in the intro, during the series, it looked like at one point the two teams wanted to kill each other, literally. Did you see that slash on Maroon to, I'm not sure who it was on, but that's a tomahawk to the tomahawk to the ankle.
Oh, yeah.
And I see the Florida State tomahawk. But it was awesome just to see the emotion come out of some of these guys. And Makar, man, what more can I know? You're an Edmonton guy, and you think, but you can't sit here and say Makar isn't the best defenseman of our lifetime.
No, he was definitely looking good. I think he's a top 3 player for sure. In the NHL now. Yeah, if anyone didn't know before.
And like, you ever play pond hockey or like pickup hockey with those guys who make it look effortless, but they somehow can just skate through the entire team? That's exactly what Makar looks like, but in the Stanley Cup final.
At age 23, he's my age. It's crazy.
He's your age. You guys are the same age.
We're the same age, man. In a different world, that could have been me out there.
Well, they say don't compare yourself to other people. That's not my advice. Other people's advice.
Well, obviously, you're not going to compare yourself to like the Norris winner, the Conn Smythe winner, the Hobie Baker winner, the Calder winner, the Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. What he's done. Yeah, I watched that Edmonton series and versus Colorado, and obviously when they're playing, I kept my mouth shut. I said, "Oh yeah, I got faith. We're coming back. Reverse sweep." But obviously, like they just looked like they were in a league of their own, and especially Makar. I was like, holy, like me and my uncle who go back and forth about the Oilers and we watched together. I said we just sat there at the end of the series and it was kind of just like, it was just like, wow, okay. Like I guess people were right. McKinnon, Makar. That 1-2 punch was just too much for the NHL right now, man. It's crazy.
When they were doing the post-game interviews, they were asking, after they won the cup, they go to Landeskog, they go like, the NHL, it's a copycat league. Everyone's going to be trying to mimic what you guys did this year. And he goes, do you have any advice for those other teams? And he goes, yeah, get yourself a Cale Makar somehow. Yeah. I love that answer because it's true. Like, he's that black ace. He's the guy in the holster that you can just kind of rely on the front end and in the back end. Yeah. Some of the plays that he was breaking up on the back end, like Kucherov in the corner, somehow trying to dipsy doodle his way around Makar, and Makar would just strip him, move the puck up to the whoever, the winger or the centerman flying through, and they're gone. And then on the offensive end, like, you think the guy's a centerman.
I was just about to say, I'm more impressed with it, like his offensive prowess, to be honest. Like when they would bring that puck into the zone, whether it be 5-on-5, 4-on-4, whatever. And he sets up in the middle there, and they just work that puck back to him on the blue line over and over. He's not like, it's not bouncing off his stick out of the zone like these other defensemen.
Yeah.
It's not like getting shot down the board so your guys can go in and chase. It's like crisp pass from him every time, and it just creates so much offense. And it's so like having a defense you can rely on like that in the offensive end, and then like you said in the defense, It's definitely a breathtaking player, similar to, McDavid and Matthews and some of those guys who've come before, right?
Yeah. There was such a matchup too. Like Colorado's fourth line on some nights was unbelievable. Cogliano, Newhook was on the fourth line every now and then, and it was such a matchup against Colorado, and how Colorado was. I felt like Bednar from Colorado wasn't really worried too much about the matchup. I feel like Cooper was more worried about the matchup. But yeah, you could throw anyone out there against Colorado, and you're not too worried. You're just like, there was times where the fourth line for Colorado was stuck out there for 2 minutes against Stamkos, Kucherov, and they just couldn't get a breath. And somehow you were a little worried, sure, but you just knew at the end of the day they'd get the puck out of the zone. It was just, I don't know. You just saw true character come out of some of these guys. Just the block shots. Oh man, it was just unbelievable to see some of these guys put it all on the line. And Doodle tweeted this. He's like, it's unbelievable to see some of the injuries that come out after the Stanley Cup final, because you don't know what people are battling through.
Oh,
and there's pictures right now on Twitter of guys' feet, guys' ankles.
That was Landeskog, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was Landeskog.
Someone's foot is purple.
Yeah. And they said, or whoever it was, they were like, the tweet was like, they basically told him, you just need to get your foot in the skate.
Yeah.
And he had to have a doctor help him get the foot in the skate. And once it was in, it was basically all just pain tolerance, they told him. Maybe a couple cortisone shots thrown in for good measure as well.
Elliot Friedman saw Colorado. What's his name? The guy with the chin strap there. Kuch. Nikis?
Oh, Val
Nichushkinen?
I think, yeah.
They saw him walking in with a flip-flop, and I was like, oh, like he's not playing. And then the next thing you know, he's playing.
Yeah.
And he's out there on
good,
the ice.
Man.
And you're like, holy smokes, this guy can barely walk. Imagine what his foot looks like, all swolled up.
Yeah.
Puts his skate on, and then the next thing you know, he's out there skating
buzzing
around. Buzzing around.
Yeah.
And like Kadri, too. This is another thing with science. Like Kadri did break his thumb. What, a month ago?
No, less than that. You get probably
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, yeah.
And he's back out there slinging the puck.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Scoring OT winners, scoring the biggest goal of his career.
You know, you talk about the year 2022 in the future and science and how people are becoming quicker to recover from injury. It's just unbelievable. Have you ever? I've sprained my thumb before. I'm still in pain from it. It was years ago.
Yeah,
you know, like
You're down for a couple of weeks if you're a regular Joe, just like doing any of those little, man, the bruises on the foot too. Like Buddy's foot was just purple. But yeah, what your point about like trusting the fourth line and stuff, that would be like, even guys like O'Connor on the Avs, it would be like there'd be a rush down the ice and they'd be barreling down the left side. They'd get a good shot on net and then you'd chase the puck into the behind the net. They would hold it against the boards and you're like, oh man, like, is that like who is that out there like making that great play? And then you look and it's their fourth line guy.
Yeah.
Or it's like Newhook who gets like 2 assists in a period or whatever, and it's like holy, like they really are firing from all cylinders. Meanwhile, like some of these other teams in the NHL, it's like your fourth line scores a goal and you're selling like you haven't seen it in 10 games. So it's definitely the difference between it, right?
Depth.
There's a lot to go over though, man. It was.
Back to the injury front. Have you ever played through like an injury or anything like that? The adrenaline takes over, and I couldn't imagine playing in the Stanley Cup final. How much adrenaline! Like I remember skating out onto the Metro Center once. This is the closest thing I can compare it to. It was a Moosehead game. It was, I wouldn't say it was a sellout, but pretty close to it. And it was like it was Saturday night. It was a big deal, and the place was jammed packed. And the adrenaline I had skating around for warm-ups and just going out there on the ice right before Canada was unbelievable. I could not imagine playing in the Stanley Cup finals in Tampa or in Colorado, wherever you want to look at it. The music is going, the lights are flickering, people are screaming at the top of their heads. The whole crowd definitely has a great buzz going. And not to mention, the whole world is watching. Well, at least all the hockey world. So you have to think about all the pressures that are coming to these guys at that one moment, and then going out there and having to perform. Man, these guys are worth every penny that they're getting that they're getting paid. Man, it's a lot of pressure that they have to deal with.
And I like the game of basketball. I find it to be an interesting game, but like when you see some of these guys like Anthony Davis like going out, and it's like it'll be like the Lakers like Game 7 like Western Conference Final, and it'll be like Anthony Davis out like bent finger pretty much, you know what I mean? And
I
you're
never
just like,
got that,
dude.
And these guys are getting
it's so bad. Like I used to like, I have a couple buddies who are really into basketball, and I would rage at them because I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, you're the star player, this is your season on the line and you can't give enough of to go out and at least put an effort out there. You're just calling yourself out of the game before it even starts. So
the NBA is talking about shortening the season as well to
really,
I think 62 games, like cutting 10 games off.
Yeah, it's because the NBA is similar as it is to the NHL. It's different. The NBA is like it really only starts in the playoffs
and in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Like people are very load management. There's no load management in hockey. Like if you can play 82, you're playing 82. So that's like the difference, right? It's like, oh well, why are we having half our stars miss like the games because they're too exhausted, I guess. Like we might as well shorten it up, I guess. But then it comes into the whole thing, like when are you going to run the season? Are you going to have like 4 days in between games? Is that enough for these players to play? Like, you know what I mean? Like the way they've got it now with the 82 is like September to June, every second or third day.
Yeah.
Bang the season out. Let's crown a champ. Like that's what the NHL does. That's what the NBA always did. So I don't know, man.
One thing that did bother me a little bit this year was the complaining with the refs. I guess it comes into play with every sport, though, unfortunately, especially when there's something on the line like the Stanley Cup. But it over a period of time, the complaining has come into play. I remember during COVID 2 years ago, or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. It's still here.
Yeah, what year is it again?
I don't know. Sportsnet did a great job of showing these old games. You know, you see Bobby Smith play for the Montreal Canadiens back then, and some of these games where they're not wearing helmets, and some of the things that were like, I know it's hard to compare back then to now, but one thing I noticed was the penalty aspect and the no complaining. The guy gets a slashing penalty, head down, goes to the box. Like there was no. There's no
that's
complaining.
Before video replay and stuff too, right? Like
yeah, but I don't know.
We're like
a slash is a slash, a hook is a hook. There's things that come into play that are what they are. But I agree with the video replay thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. Every goal, it's hard to celebrate.
I know. Yeah.
It's hard to celebrate 100% and get up and just that's a goal for my team.
Yeah.
That's a goal for my team.
Unless it's like a clear-cut breakaway or something like that. Like
even still, you're like, oh, was that offside?
Yeah. Oh, did goalie interfere? Yeah.
Yeah. Did someone? Was the door open? Like I don't know. Just anything could happen.
Was there 6 guys on the ice?
Was there 6 guys on the ice? There's so many things that can come into play when you score. Now it's hard as a fan, as a paying fan. My bill for Bell Alliance for cable and internet, it's like, 145, it's pushing almost $200 right now. Like I'm paying $200 to sit down and watch hockey. I'm a fan. I'm invested in the sport. I pay. Mm-hmm. And then there's guys that go and watch the game in real life. You're paying your money, and for you not to stand up and celebrate 100% and go, let's go, my team just scored, and not be happy because there's a thing in the back of your head going, man, was that offside? Was that because someone could review it? It's not a part of the game that I'm a huge fan of.
I wouldn't say I'm totally at that point yet. I'm still celebrating, but I will say I'd like to hear your thoughts on the my kind of theory for this playoffs and how it went down with the reffing. Obviously, some big calls and some big moments that could have switched. A couple that come to mind. The Calgary, when Coleman kicked the puck in the net. They had a huge review. They called it for the Oilers. Great. What happens. Next series against the Avs, Makar with the infamous offside. I'm sure you saw that one where they said he didn't have possession, which I don't understand, because then it's like if a player is like, does McDavid have 200 micro possessions as he dekes the puck into the offensive zone? Like it's all one possession. But anyway, that's in the past now. So there's that call, and then there's the call like they were all mad about the too many men on the ice. So I think the NHL, these playoffs, just got a little too cute with itself. I think they just got a little too cute with the calls, man.
Yeah.
I think that they have a lot of momentum right now because they're with ESPN and TNT. They did a fantastic job their first year on the big platform. I think hockey is growing. I mean, I don't think there's any denying that. They're not on NBC anymore. They've got the coverage, They had a great playoffs compared to the NBA playoffs this year, which were garbage. So they did a good job, but I think when it came to the calling, I think they knew they had a lot of eyeballs on them, and I don't know if they wanted to get the right call or what they were doing, but I think on some of these calls, the 3 I just mentioned in particular, get a little too cute with it. It's either onside or it's outside, You either kick the puck in or you didn't kick the puck in. So I don't know. So like, we get an NBA game, the last 5 minutes takes a half hour because, did it graze the guy's jersey before it went out of the zone? You know, did this guy's hand manage to hit the leg for this foul? Like, you know what I mean? So maybe they need to take a step back. I don't think it was as bad in the regular season, but you know what I mean? There was a couple there and there where it's just, all right, NHL, like, relax. Like, this is the game.
There's one thing that we're also not mentioning that has come into this game or come into the television networks this past year. The betting aspect.
Oh, yeah.
The betting aspect has a lot to do with people that don't even really like hockey but think they know how to bet on it are going to sit down and watch a hockey game because they put, $200 on Carolina to beat New York because they think they got an inside, but then all of a sudden an offside happens where a guy's foot was dragged but then it's lifted and you're sitting there, you're going, I think I'm going to put my money more on basketball where things are a little bit more predictable.
A little more fleshed out, it's not,
so that's a whole other thing as well as the betting aspect.
Got it, man.
Because the NHL, you can't sit there and tell me right now the NHL isn't putting a little back pocket money in their stash there. Gary Bettman needs another summer home.
You can't tell me right now that the NHL didn't just shove betting down our throats for the past.
That's what everyone says about sports.
For the past,
did you see that meme?
8 months. Oh man,
it's like I don't want to bet, and then it's Sportsnet going, we're betting today. Some guy yelling at a kid. We're betting today.
I could recite the commercials to you at this point, like how many times I heard them. But yeah, that's an interesting aspect. It's like, if you're really going to promote betting this much and you get some rich guy in Vegas who puts, forget 200, what about 200 grand down on the Avs winning or on Edmonton winning that game with the kick or whatever it is, and then it comes down to that call where they're in Toronto making the right call in their mind and you just lose 200 grand based on something like that, things are going to get a little dicey, man. They're going to have to kind of figure out a healthy medium there, to your point. Like, it's not going to be smooth sailing if that's how they want to play it.
I want to get off to refs, though. I'm pro refs. Those guys have a tough job and at every level.
What about umpires? They're horrible.
That's a whole nother one. Wasn't there like a record the other day?
Yeah,
against 29 missed calls.
Yeah, it was like 64%.
And then the hitting coach for the Jays went out and got a 5-game suspension because he went out and shook the ump's hand the next game and basically said, "Go yourself."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Usually they send out the head coach and they sent out the hitting coach instead. And he basically was like, "That was actually the worst performance that's ever been recorded," and they booted him. So what are you gonna do?
But people love that human element with baseball. I've always said this. Like, is there ever going to be a time where computers are making the call? And they say never, because you need that human element of an umpire behind the plate, which I don't get. But hey, if it's something baseball needs, it's something baseball needs.
I guess it's like, I don't know. Do people think it's like part of the game? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's very
like a pick and roll in hockey or pick and roll in basketball. Like, it's just a facet of the game you got to deal with in baseball. Is the altering zones? Like, is that why they don't want to? You know what I mean? Like,
baseball is very traditional, like hockey. Obviously you need refs in hockey no matter what, but there's just things within baseball that will never be removed, and I think it's the same thing with hockey. It just has deep roots when it comes to their tradition that they just will never change. And I get that. I get that. Maybe it'll come over time when, another generation comes up and they start paying. But I don't know. That it is what it is.
It's like in hockey when they as much as they want to take out fighting and hitting, it's still legal in hockey. It's part of the game. Like, they switch the years where it's like now you hit when you're in bantam instead of peewee or whatever, so they do little things like that, but it's like you just can't take that out of the game. Like, it's part of the DNA. So
okay, I want to talk about Nathan MacKinnon. Where do you start? Let's start back at the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. You grow up, his whole life he's looking at a guy named Sidney Crosby. Whole life. So as a kid growing up, not even from Cole Harbour, just Canada, you want to mimic a career. You want to go, I want to go play for my home junior team. What does MacKinnon do? Goes and plays for the Mooseheads. When you play for that junior team, I want to win the league championship. What does MacKinnon do? He goes out and wins that league championship. After you do that, maybe you set a goal, I want to go win the Memorial Cup, the best team in junior when it comes to the country of Canada. What does he do? He goes and does that. After that, what do you want to do? I don't know, maybe probably go to the NHL like my idol, Sidney Crosby. But not only do you want to go to the NHL, you want to go first overall. So what does MacKinnon do? He does that. Now, let's put into perspective how small Atlantic Canada is. Now let's go into how small Nova Scotia is. And now let's go into how small Cole Harbour is, where his idol is from. Let's just mention that. Growing up, everybody wants to be friends with Sidney Crosby. I still want to be friends with Crosby. Growing up, you want to live the same life, take the same path, and do the exact same career choice as Sidney Crosby. When you're young, when you're a kid, when you grow up, and you realize you're not going to make it, some of your priorities change. I got to pay a bill. I got to go see that girl, and I got to just things. Life happens. I'm sitting here as a 30-year-old man. Life happens. So everyone listening, know that I understand that life happens. But what I'm saying, when you're a kid, you have posters all over your wall. You got the mini sticks in the corner. You're wearing your new hockey helmet to bed. Like, you're that young. You're young. You're a kid. You're dreaming. You just what I want to do. And for it all to come true. All to come true.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention Shaddix. He went to Shaddix where Crosby went. Next step, junior. I don't really want to go play for Baker-Mo. Some people knock him on that. I get it. Plays
junior. It's all right.
We're not
it's whatever.
NHL
here.
Goes and plays for the Halifax Mooseheads. Wins the league championship. Wins the Memorial Cup. By the way, during that Memorial Cup, when he was on the podcast, we talked about this. He was not ranked number 1 going into the NHL draft. It was the defenseman for...
You got it. Come on. Let's hear it.
Jones. No. Yeah. Jones. Seth Jones.
To Nashville.
And he talked about this. He was pissed off. He went into that Memorial Cup a little upset. And he outplayed Jones, and he bumped himself up into the number 1 spot. Don't think for a second that wasn't in the back of his head. Because it was. I asked him. He was sitting right across from me on the podcast. He was sitting right there. And I asked him. He wanted to go number 1, and he was a little upset that he said even on some boards he was ranked like 5th going into the Mem Cup to go 5th overall in the NHL draft. Anyways, back to being a kid. You're sitting there and you're dreaming of a career choice to go play in the NHL, go number 1 overall. And what's the cherry on top of the cake, on whatever you put cherries on top of? What's the cherry on top of everything? You got this. What do you want to do as a kid? You're in the driveway. You're shooting the ball. It's overtime. Breakaway. 3, 2, 1 to win the
cup, buddy. You want to lift that cup
to win the Stanley Cup. Now, I'm not going to sit here and look at the average person and judge the average person. Most of us aren't going to win a Stanley Cup. Most of us, if we get to see the cup or touch it one day as a fan or as an average citizen, that's a big deal. I touched it once. I'll never forget it. Still haven't washed my hands. For that to come true, after everything I just said about the career choice going number 1 overall, following the footsteps of the great number 87, and for the cherry on top to win a Stanley Cup after, Nate's hasn't had the easiest 9 years in the NHL. No. When he got there, some people questioned whether or not he deserved that number 1 pick. He even said it too. He's like, I didn't have the best couple of years growing up in the NHL. One second. And for him to recognize that and understand that he needed to mature as a hockey player, and for him to be the most dominating hockey player in the playoffs, well, most dominating, but the most effective player in the NHL this year, my God, to win a Stanley Cup. All the shit he had to go through, people saying, oh, he yells at his teammates if they have a donut. There's so much stuff and storylines that he had to go through where he's like, all right, like
that's the beauty about Nate. He does not care.
He wears his heart on his.
He does not care.
He wears his heart on his
sleeve.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
So that's to do all of that. Yeah, it's awesome. But to do it your way, that's a whole nother thing. He got to where he is by doing it his way. I love his post-game interviews. What was it, 2 years ago? Well, I've been in the league, 8 years, going on 9. I haven't won shit.
Yeah, I think that was last year.
Was it last year?
I've been in the league 9 years. And I haven't won shit.
What a line.
It last year, yeah.
Wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
He's getting interviewed by Kyle Bukowskis. I actually got to talk about that during this podcast too. Though you know what happened. I'll tell you in a sec. Yeah, yeah. And he goes, yeah, like Crosby was the drunkest at my party. I was the drunkest at Crosby's party. Two of us. Yeah. So when I have my party, he better be the drunkest. Like, just to say that.
He was electric after that win, wasn't he?
The one thing I love about Nate is that you could be sitting in a room having a conversation with him during an NHL media press conference, but he'll be sitting there talking like it's just you and him. Like, he'll just talk to you like you're his buddy. He doesn't care that the world is watching. Hence, wears his heart on his
sleeve.
You know what I mean?
You got it.
Back to the kid thing. You're sitting in bed. You're dreaming. You got posters of Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic. Colorado was the tits back in the day. I don't know. How old are you? 20?
23.
Did you watch those Colorado Detroit battles?
No, I do remember them very, very vaguely because my brother was a Detroit fan, though. Yes, they won in 2001 there. That was the 95-6 and then 2001.
Like, Joe Sakic back in the day was well, first of all, his curve was the best curve growing up. So everyone had a Sakic curve if you were a forward. And, him, Patty Waugh, the posters were all over kids' bedrooms. I know they were in mine. Colorado was just the team to be a fan of. I don't know if Nate would have been when he was younger. I don't know. Maybe it was just Pittsburgh with Sid. But nonetheless, to get drafted by them and to have Joe Sakic as your GM and to maneuver your way through this thing called the NHL and to come out on top and actually win a Stanley Cup, bravo.
Dude.
He's every kid's dream come true.
He is. I agree.
If you want to remember those books, Screech Owls, the Screech Owl books.
I don't know if I read those.
You don't remember those Screech Owl books?
No.
Essentially, they made every kid's dream come true about going to play in the NHL. Or they always said like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, I pulled little Jimmy.
That's more of a nightmare, buddy.
Yeah.
Come on.
But like the essentially like every plot of the book was, I pulled little Jimmy out of elementary school because Matt Sundin needed a winger. And like he'd come up and he'd go play with Matt Sundin and they'd go win the cup or something. Like that was the plot for every book pretty much. And the plot of getting from the school to the rink was like, he had to go through a bunch of obstacles. Like, oh, it's a snowstorm, so how is he going to get there?
Yeah.
And you look at the obstacles that Nate had to go through to get to where he is. And yeah, he had a nice guideline of Sid helping him. But you got to remember, Nate's an unbelievable hockey player. Like,
dude, he's top 5 in the world.
Yeah. He's top 5 in the world. Arguably top 3. And for it to come to fruition, it's a I don't want to say fairy tale, but it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. You sit there as a kid and you picture your life. Not many of us, when you picture your life as a kid, does it come true. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't for some kids, but to look at your life very vividly at a young age and for it to come true.
Dude, I know.
That's some universe stuff there.
I've never met the guy or anything like that, but like I actually am proud of him, man. Like I was sitting in that building when they won the President's Cup. I remember watching him score all the Mem Cup and jump into the Mooseheads bench there when they were in Saskatoon. I remember him getting drafted and not doing great to start, and then him just like having like that mental switch in his head or whatever he did, that Nate McKinnon, what makes him so special, and then just like over the past 3 years just becoming like a top 5 player, and now to like help with Makar, like spearhead winning a Stanley Cup, man. It's a total full circle, man. Like he'll have that for the rest of his life. That's what I always say. As long as the Oilers win one cup, then I'll be happy for the rest of my life, because it's just like it's a legacy. His legacy is full. Yeah. You know what I mean? He has that legacy. His legacy isn't, oh, I didn't win shit in 9 years. It's Stanley Cup champion, and it'll never be able to, if they don't repeat, if they don't put up this dynasty people think they will. Not everyone can be the Penguins or the Blackhawks or the Kings. He's always gonna have that cup now, and it's just it's that.
He's reached that mountaintop he's the big 3 now. It's him, Brad, and Sid.
Oh, for sure.
He's earned the respect of his peers. Not that he hasn't earned respect already, but to earn that level of respect from everyone around him, now being a Stanley Cup champion, and not to mention, Jeff, 2-time Stanley Cup defending champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh yeah,
like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Dude, they hadn't lost a series in 11 series. They hadn't lost in 11 series in a row.
The Lightning, like they are good. They are a good, well-oiled team.
Best.
Like I'm sitting here going, like Colorado was less worried than Tampa when it came to like matching up lineups. Like yada yada. Tampa Bay's the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
And to beat them
at their own home,
there's always something about that. Cups are always won on the road.
I know. I actually listened to a podcast this morning, and they were like, it kind of throws you off a little bit.
Yeah.
A little like weird when it's just like, they're chanting after the game, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. It's like fair enough, but it's also like when you watch a team win like that, you kind of expect like the place to be going nuts for them, not chanting the losing team's name. But
there's something about being in like a hostile environment that makes you just want it just a little bit more. You motherfucker, it just gets the blood going.
Yep. Our boy Nate Darling on the podcast said he prefers playing in away places or away games opposed to home. Remember that was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We asked him like, what would you rather? Oh, away, 100%. Like I feed off it.
Yeah.
It's the thing.
I do enjoy doing these podcasts on the road. There's a grind element to it, like not having the same setup and the comfortability of this right now. Like when we did that podcast with John Sim in Wolfville.
Yeah.
One, I was able to relax oddly enough a little bit more. Not that I'm not relaxed now. Like, look at me, I'm relaxed. But I don't know. There's something just about going on the road and getting a little bit of work done. You're in not a hostile environment, but you're in an environment that you're not so comfortable in. You just, I don't know.
You feel a little more accomplished after, for sure. It's like.
Yeah.
Especially when you do a good job. The one we did in Pictou there with the ladies for the Atlantics. That was a nice one where we had that. We worked our butts off that morning to
dude. I can't
get
wait
it all
for
set up
to come back for us.
I know.
Like I'm not that I'm bored. I just like I can't wait just to be busy again. We are busy. We're busy, but.
We got exciting stuff going on, but the fact of the matter is hockey is the
bread and butter.
Hockey is the bread and butter in Nova Scotia, whether it comes to high button, whether it comes to kids in school, whether it comes to watching, playing, like it's just hockey is just part of the culture. So it's like as much as we do have cool stuff going on now, it's just a bottom line. It's
we
like
come
hockey.
alive.
It's hockey.
We come alive in the winter. I can't do this podcast without mentioning Alex Newhook.
Yes.
2-time High Button podcast guests. Both very, very appreciative of his time whenever he comes on here. Every time the High Button Twitter account tweets out Newfoundland stands up, and then a video of Newhook scoring, a video of Newhook passing, a video of Newhook walking into a rink with a very, very well-pressed suit on. You'll get like 40, 50 likes, just all from people from Newfoundland sitting there cheering on Alex Newhook. I wouldn't be surprised, this isn't a knock to Nate, when Alex Newhook has his parade in Newfoundland, that it isn't like a bigger turnout in Newfoundland. The whole all of Newfoundland will go to George Street and cheer on Alex Newhook as he waves like he's a goddamn prince. Like dude, the whole is Newfoundland not an island?
No, it's not. But yeah, it's
the Rock.
Separate. Yeah, it's the Rock. You can only really get there by flight, so it's kind of like an island.
Yeah, you can't drive to Newfoundland, can you?
No.
But you can take a ferry there. Like you drive your car on the ferry.
Plane or ferry. Yeah. But yeah, dude, he's only the third Newfoundlander in history to win the Stanley Cup.
Dan Cleary's the other one,
and Michael Ryder.
Wow.
And now Newhook. So to your point, man, this is a massive deal.
Newhook is going to be on George Street, probably on top of a fire truck with the Stanley Cup, probably going to be wearing some sort of glasses on.
No shirt, tarps off.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Waving like he's the prince of Saudi Arabia or something. Just like he's going to be waving to these people. Like, how are you? This is the cup. I've brought it back to the homeland.
Yeah.
And they're going to, and not that they haven't already embraced them, but I'm telling you, I have family that lives kind of out in the butt fucking nowhere of Newfoundland. They're going to be going to George Street 100% for a parade when Alex Newhook arrives.
We should go stay with them. Go down.
Newhook? Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to say definitely. Probably doesn't remember us now. But
no, I'm saying with your family, and we'll go, go
no. It's like a 3-hour drive from where they live. If we go, we're sleeping on George Street. We'll sleep on Signal Hill.
Yeah.
He will be on George Street. I already said on top of a fire truck.
Prince
of Saudi Arabia.
On, tarps off, Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
So, what does this mean now for Alex Newhook? I think of Brad Marchand winning a cup with Boston. His first. Brad was like third year in the league.
Yeah, it was was it even his
second? No, third year. I think maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it must have been really early. I can look at it here.
Nonetheless. Winning your cup, I think this is Newhook's second year into the league.
I can look it up here.
Yeah.
So he played. So he won it in his second year. Marchand did. Yeah.
And this is Newhook's second year as well.
Let's see here. It is different though. I think I know the point you're coming at here, where it's like so early, right?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, so this is like his second official year. He's been up and down from 20 to 21 and 21. Yeah, so this is his second year. Yeah.
Now he becomes a key piece to Colorado or to any other team that really wants him. I'm pretty sure Newhook is in a contract year as well, so his price just went up. What do you do if you're Newhook? Do you stay in Colorado where you won the Cup, where you're going to be beloved for the rest of your life? You know, if you won the Cup with the Colorado Avalanche 3 days ago, you can go back to Colorado when you're 70, when you're 80, when you're 90, and you have a cane and you can barely walk and still be beloved by the people in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
If you win a Cup in a city, you will always be remembered. You will always be loved. You will always be able to get a free beer at a bar somehow because you won a Cup for the city that you played hockey in. Doesn't matter if you leave, you will be loved. And you think of Newhook right now, and it's going to be an interesting career for that kid right now. All positives. Stanley Cup champion at the age of, I think he's 21, 22. But it'll be interesting to see his next move and see how it maneuvers.
Yeah, man. Good for him, man.
No, it's unbelievable.
Him,
21. He's going to be on. I already said he's on the fire truck.
Yeah,
I already said that.
Yeah.
That's he's going to be beloved everywhere he goes.
Yeah. Yes.
Everywhere he goes.
Dude, good. Yeah. Good for him, man. And he actually, I'm looking at his stats here. He had a good year, man. He had 13 goals in the regular season after getting called back up in 71 games. He played 70. So yeah, he played a full season, 4 assists in 12 games played in the playoffs. Like he had a great. That's good for him, man. He's 21 years old from St. John's, Newfoundland. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my hero.
First round, 16th overall in the 2019 draft.
We were there. Me and dudes were 2 rows behind his best friends.
Oh, yeah?
That were screaming, had the Newfoundland flag. We were there. It was an unbelievable experience. Like, he probably had like 20 people there at the draft in Vancouver. Now think about George Street. Hometown. I can't.
It's gonna be special, man.
I can't end this pod. How much time are we at right now?
40 minutes.
Oh my God, we got tons of time. I can't end this podcast without being real for a minute. Not that I haven't been real for the past 40 minutes, but you think of guys, like Ryan Graves. Now, if you're not aware of the Ryan Graves situation, he should have been on this Colorado team if it wasn't for Seattle. With the expansion draft, Seattle essentially said, look, we're going to take him. But Joe Sakic, being the brilliant man that he is, says, okay, well, we're going to have to trade you to New Jersey to get something for you rather than Seattle just taking you. So it was a necessary evil type thing. Sakic had to do it because you can't just let Seattle take Graves and not get anything for him. When I was cut from the Halifax Mooseheads, they said to me, it's a great game, but it's a shitty business. And I think that's one of the most true statements when it comes to hockey. Not that it's a shitty business on how guys don't get paid. It's just an unfair business in terms of that sense. Graves doesn't have kids or all that stuff. Like, he doesn't have to move everyone. It was just him. But to have a Stanley Cup kind of taken underneath your feet, and now you're in New Jersey, that it must be bittersweet for a guy like Graves. He did get paid. He signed a great contract. He's making good money right now. But just to see your old team win a Stanley Cup, it must be tough. It must be a tough pill to swallow. And I'll leave it. I'll leave
and
that.
You're just
at
like,
that.
yeah.
I'll leave that at that.
Yeah.
It's just a tough pill to swallow.
It is.
To see the team that basically raised you, turned you into an NHL guy.
Yeah.
Colorado was where he had the best plus minus in the league, I think 2 years ago. There were some nights I was looking at his stat line. He had 30 minutes on the ice as a defenseman. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's big.
It's even worse because it wasn't even like a indication of his play is why he got left Colorado. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, he's not cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
So that almost makes it worse. It's like he knows he could have went in and contributed a lot to that team this year.
It could have been him and Makar.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously the boy Justin Bear and the other guy who got traded off the Avs this year. I think. I don't think did he ever play official games for Colorado this year?
He did. Yeah. He could have been on that team as maybe like a taxi squad guy. I don't think he would have been in the lineup during the cup final, but
yeah, they have a lot of good D over there. But yeah, so,
great. I think it's a great move for Barron to be where he is.
Yes,
Montreal.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
You know,
He'll play
it'll be
full
sweeter
time.
when he wins it with the Habs, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. That'd be great. Oh man, that'd be sick.
Yeah. So no,
love
but
that.
you're right. Little moment of a little moment for those guys who
Yeah.
are Nova Scotia or brethren who are Atlantic Maritime brethren who weren't able to do it. But
Yeah. All right.
know.
So I'm gonna talk about not a sensitive subject. Just remember when we were at the beginning of the podcast, I was talking about how I'm glued to the TV. So I got a message from Sportsnet essentially saying, "Look, we might play a clip from your podcast during the Cup final." So what's my immediate reaction? Oh my God, I made it. Oh my God, this is it. Oh my God, this is. All my answers have been like that. You can't buy that type of advertising. For Sportsnet to play your clip. Unbelievable. It didn't happen. So now you can take this one or two ways. You can sit there, be salty about it, say, "Oh, sports, fuck me," have a terrible attitude about it, or you can look at it another way. The biggest broadcasting sports network in the world reached out and said, "Your podcast is fantastic. You know how to listen to your guest, make them feel comfortable, and the conversations that you have with your guest are very fascinating." So that's what you do. You take the compliments and you run with them. I can sit here right now, because remember what happened at the Joel Montaigne? And CBC reached out and they said, "Hey, we're going to play one of your mic'd up clips on national television tonight." And I had to work extra hard to get that clip ready because we were still live streaming. We were running around like chickens with our head
cut off.
We were running around with like chickens with our head cut off, chickens with our head cut off.
Yeah.
To try to get that clip ready while we were streaming. And then what happened? They didn't air the clip. And I was very pissed off. I'm still a little sour about that now. And now for this to happen, I look at it a completely different way. But when you talk about people growing as individuals, last year maybe I was a little bit more immature. This year the guy's a little bit more mature, whatever. That's the way I'm looking at this scenario now. Yeah, it sucks. It would have been nice to have our clip of the podcast with Nathan McKinnon aired on the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know how much it is to run a commercial on television during the Stanley Cup Finals, but it must be in the tens of thousands, 30, 40, 50,000. To surprise everyone, I don't have that kind of money right now. But to have that free advertising of that happening, it probably could have turned some heads. It probably could have helped out with some advertising dollars. We could have used that clip and ran with it and definitely got a lot more influence out of it. But I'm sitting here choosing to look at it in a positive manner. We're on a radar. Not that I'm looking to get acquired by Sportsnet. Not that anything is out there that I'm looking for. I'm happy with how everything's going. But you have to sit here and you can't be, is it salty or sulky?
Both work. You sulk about something, but you can be salty about something. Yeah,
I'm going to use sulk.
Yeah.
I could sit here and be sulky about the fact that it didn't get aired, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit here and be positive about it, that we're on a radar, we were noticed, and we're going to sit there and we're going to run with that, and we're not going to let it ruin our day, I'll tell you that much. But you have to picture. Jeff,
I know.
When I invited you over,
you
didn't, you had to leave in the third. But even the commercials, when I was saying I had to get up and take a piss, I didn't, because you never know. They could be back like that, and then our clip is being aired.
Yeah.
So for it not to happen, it is bittersweet. But at the end of the day, it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the boys winning the cup, and they got a cup.
Can't cry over spilled milk, man. It's
a grind.
It's a grind, and you kept like you said, you're looking at it with this mentality, and obviously not on the same level. But then as soon as they win the cup, our buddy Global Graham comes in.
Yeah,
he sits down. They film like a cool thing in the new office. You got a real look at it, a real sense for it. That got aired on the Nova Scotian News last night. Yeah. Your big old mug on there, just with a big smile talking about Nate. So, it's you just kind of have to roll with it. You never know what the next day is going to bring you. So, as much as it sucks, that's what are you going to do, man? You You never know. Is it the fact that we got to sit down here and have that night where me and you were react? Maybe you'll release those at some point.
Release what?
The videos of me and you, like when we had basically to explain to the people, we had one of the interns who work here just like keeping the camera on us, recording the whole time.
Yeah.
And at the start, every time Kyle would talk, or they would send it to Kyle, me and Justin would get all fired up, and there's just videos on Justin's phone of me and him just, oh, is this it? No, I mean, yeah.
To be fair, it's a tough clip to work in.
What?
Because he's kind of shit talking the Alberta Junior Hockey League and Makar a little bit.
I thought it was easy. I thought it was easy to work in, but I knew it would they needed a good slot to play it, because it's like you're sending it to the truck, like play the clip. All right, we're coming back to Kyle. Like it's not as easy as him just like dropping a line like, hey, like this interview. Like, you know, a lot of work. You really need to like be on your notes and have it set up to make it work.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was Nate saying how impressed he was by Makar, wasn't it?
When Makar won the best defenseman of the year, I thought they were going to play it, because oddly, I can't believe Makar went to those NHL awards, by the way. So it was in Vegas. The next day he had to fly back to Tampa. I think it was game 2 or game 3. And I was like, okay, because Kyle messaged me the day of the NHL awards. So I was like, oh, perfect. So they're just going to play it the next day because it's more relevant right there. You just won defenseman of the year. What's the name of that trophy again?
Norris.
We just won the Norris.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. And, you know, when you start anything in life where it's a business, whether it's a dream, a goal, whatever the hell you want to call it, you know, even McKinnon going into the NHL, they say the term is you got to jump off a cliff. It's just like a bird when you're learning to fly. And have you ever seen, like, I remember in school we used to watch National Geographics of like these birds or like baby hawks trying to fly and stuff. And essentially their parents, they take them up on this high cliff. And some of them die actually. But these birds, they jump off a cliff. And some of them on the way down, they get hit by a rock. They get hit by the cliff. They get clipped by a tree. But as they're falling, all of a sudden their wings open and then they're flying.
Yeah.
And you look at McKinnon. I'm not comparing myself to McKinnon, but on the way down, as he was a baby hawk, a baby chick, a baby avalanche, however you want to look at it, he's fallen. But his wings opened 2 days, 3 days. When did they win the Cup? 3 days ago?
Yeah.
His wings opened 3 days ago, and now he's a Stanley Cup champion. And I'm still falling, unfortunately. I'm still falling.
You've hit a couple of rocks on the way down.
I've hit a couple. But the point is, Jeff, and everyone listening out there, I've jumped. We've jumped. We've jumped.
Right.
You've taken a jump in your career.
Right.
Dudes has taken a jump. The boys have jumped. We're falling. It hurts. My elbow's killing me right now. I can't walk. Like I'm beat up.
Yeah.
You know, like not being aired on national TV. I can sit here and complain and be like, tough luck, Justin. What, your little stupid podcast didn't get aired on national TV. I'll go cry. Boo hoo. Yeah, sure. You can sit there and say that, but we work hard. And to have that moment aired would have been a big deal. But I'm not going to sit here and complain. I'm going to keep falling. I'm going to keep getting hurt. I'm going to keep getting banged up. But you better believe I'm going to stand up. I'm going to walk up, and my wings are going to soar. You better believe it.
Damn, man.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's all. How much time are we at?
50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that is that a wrap on Nate and the Avalanche and Newhook and everything?
Well, I think we're going to see that Cup final again next year. I think that's a repeat.
No, I just mean like for this podcast. Like, have you gotten all your initial thoughts out?
Oh yeah,
here?
I think so. I think I'm pretty well. You know, McKinnon had a dream, and his dream was to see his dream come true with the Cup and everything.
I'm so excited to go to the parade, man. Good for Nate, man. Good for him.
Yeah. Newhook, he's going to be on the fire truck in the George Street and waving.
Yeah. I hope he sees you say that a couple times, because it might motivate him to do it.
Fire truck?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a give. What the key to a parade is to be on a high level of transportation, and the highest level of transportation is a fire truck. I don't know if there's any other higher forms of transportation. A plane's obviously too high, but
yeah. Helicopter? Can we get a little helicopter going down George Street? It'd
be tough to win. You imagine Newhook?
That would actually be so sick, though, man. Like,
just on a helicopter.
He's got the cup. He's got he's strapped in off the side. He's like,
I remember the first year Crosby won his Cup. he came to like the military base first on a helicopter. My dad was in the military at the time, so I got to see it. And this guy Crosby flew in on a helicopter. It was the most badass thing on a ship. So we're sitting there on a ship, comes in on the helicopter, brings the cup out. It was badass.
Yeah,
so yeah, maybe Newhook
badass.
takes a helicopter to like Signal Hill, where there's a fire truck waiting for him. That's a good idea. The fire truck's waiting for him, and then everyone's waiting for him on George Street. They just take the fire truck down the hill onto George Street, and then he waves to everyone, says thank you. McKinnon, I don't know what McKinnon will do. Harbor Hopper's always the classic.
Wait.
Sid
I
had
think
his.
Sid was just in like the bed of a truck.
Yeah, but he was in Cole Harbor. He didn't do his in
Halifax. Do you think McKinnon will do it in Cole Harbor?
Yeah, it's interesting though, because McKinnon kind of has that Halifax root of the Mooseheads.
Yep.
But
it's also like the whole his hero Crosby like did his first cup like right down that road, and he was probably at that parade saying to himself, "I want to be here one day."
Yeah.
With my own cup coming down in front of Cole Harbor Place.
Yeah, you got a point there.
You know,
you have a point there.
Be curious. See,
you do have a point there, but I just think it's more bang for your buck on Spring Garden, or just Brunswick. Yeah. You go down Brunswick. Or is it Brunswick? You go down Brunswick, and then you hook a right up onto Spring Garden, and then you go all the way down Spring Garden, hook another right in front of like the public gardens, and you just kind of loop the block. I think that's the best route for a.
Well, what about like just in front of the Metro Center there, so people can like camp?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Brunswick. You go down.
Brunswick.
You start it on Brunswick.
Yeah,
and then you go. I think that's Brunswick.
You like wrap around Citadel Hill. And then make your way over to Spring Garden down there.
Well, no, I think you go straight all the way to Spring Garden, hook a right at Duggars, and you go all the way down to like the subway at the far end, because right in front of like the public gardens.
Yeah.
And then right when you hit that subway, I don't even know, you probably end it there.
Dude, imagine the scenes like if he did it like the pictures like with the Citadel Hill in the background just covered with people as McKinnon holds the cup up in the air, and there's like the clock tower in the background. Man, that'd be good. Who knows, though? We'll see.
It's going to be a great summer regardless.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
Fair enough.
Everyone listening, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. We know that we love we love your support. You guys are unbelievable. The downloads for this podcast keep going up and up and up, and we're looking at where these downloads are coming from. And some places in the world where people are listening to this, I never would have thought. Like Lower Sackville's a huge supporter of us. Like Lower Sackville, we're getting tons of people listening.
Shout out Lower Sackville.
You know, I don't know. I don't know too many people in Lower Sackville, but the people that are listening in Lower Sackville, shout out to Lower Sackville. There was like Musquodobbit, oddly enough, has a lot of downloads. I don't know. Just we're just people listen to us and appreciate that.
Yes.
You know, we love all the support.
Yeah, and the Nate Cup podcast right here. This one will go down.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a lot of Denver downloads on this one.
Maybe if the clip would have been played. Yeah.
All right, everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Tuesday, have fun, work hard. June 28th, it's officially summer. I got my summer cabana wear attire on. That's the rule of thumb in my life. As soon as the Stanley Cup Finals is over, summer begins.
Go Blue Jays.
Yeah, it is officially Blue Jay season.
It is officially Blue Jay season until September when football starts up.
Yeah.
This is Blue Jay season now.
We should try to get a seed sponsorship. I love seeds and watching baseball. I like the barbecue. I forget the brand.
What about a couple dip packages, a little dip sponsorship?
Chewing tobacco? Yeah. Not a huge... I threw up one time when I was having chewing tobacco.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Not my shtick. All right, that's it. That's all I got to say. Have a good day. We are out. Peace.